past year, medieval art and fashion have had a huge rise in popularity. Musicians, fashion designers, artists, and creators on social media are all leaning into medieval revival, and I want to join in. So in this video, I'm designing a medieval art style dress-up game. This type of artwork was often found in illuminated manuscripts featuring people and animals in a simple style, but the poses and the concepts are often a bit cheeky or even absurd, making them very interesting even for modern audiences to look at. It's fun to look at the details of pieces like this. Some of them are very beautiful. Others are fun to try and piece together the story. What's happening here? Is she spinning his hair into yarn? Why is this knight fighting a snail? Why is this rabbit holding a snail like a falcon? This I recognize as a classic coffee and donuts. It's easy to see ourselves in people from the past. I also get this excited about a good roast chicken. So with this art style in mind, let's get to drawing the dress-up game. I started by designing a character in the style of this medieval artwork. On top of this, I will design a ton of different customization options, including facial features, hairstyles, clothing, and accessories. So why a dress-up game? I've wanted to make one for a while, and I also think it would be a good type of game to learn to code, as it's the same mechanic that's used in a lot of other games for the character customization portion at the beginning. For this project, I'm largely inspired by Azalea's Dolls. This is a website full of dress-up games in gorgeous Disney and folk art styles with very detailed clothing options. I used to get home from school when I was a kid, and I would immediately go on DeviantArt and I would see a ton of fan art made using these games. What I love about these games is that they allow you to be creative and design a character without stressing about how good your art looks. To make all of the pieces, I started by designing a figure in a pose like the medieval art from earlier. With the pose settled, I drew different facial features, hairstyles, clothing, and accessory. Each item was drawn on a new layer in Procreate, so you'll see that after each item is drawn, it's then hidden so that I can work on the next one. This ensures that every piece fits perfectly over the figure. While I'm mainly going for an illuminated manuscript theme, I also added some fantasy elements like pointed ears, horns, and tails for you to make D&D style characters as well. To design the clothing items, I took inspiration from lots of modern medieval revival pieces and 1980s medieval fantasy movies. Something I thought a lot about when designing this dress-up game is how I want to layer the pieces. I want to use a standard rule for all shirts to be layered on top of all pants. This mostly impacted the pants, as I had to make the tops of all of the pants very skin tight so that they would fit underneath any shirt that's selected to go over top. I really enjoyed the process of designing the different outfit pieces and imagining the types of characters you could create. I really got into a flow with this project. my cat drawing looks a little bit off, but in some ways I think this is more accurate to medieval depictions of cats. The coloring is where I really hit a wall. I wanted to have multiple color options for every single piece I designed. This ended up being a huge task that ate up a ton of my motivation. I'm very grateful for my one friend who met up with me many times to work on digital art together. She gave me great advice on hairstyle and fashion ideas, and she also invited me to my first ever D&D game during the making of this project, which inspired a lot of the designs as well. I also wanted to add shadow to the pieces, so I took a neutral gray color and colored over all of the areas where I wanted to apply shadow. I then set this layer to linear light, and this adds a subtle shadow that matches whatever color it's on top of. So even when I change the main color of the shirt like this, the shadow still looks natural. I used a neutral gray for this because black added too much of a contrast. In the end, I designed one figure, 7 different noses, 25 mouths, 30 eyes, 12 body modifiers like tattoos, freckles, and ears, 20 hairstyles, 20 hats, 83 unique shirts, 85 unique pants, 47 sets of socks, shoes, and cloaks, and 70 accessories and pets. This makes a total of 400 unique items, all drawn and colored, so hopefully you can make endless unique characters. Let's break down some of the pieces available. You can customize the body of your character using different facial features, freckles, tattoos, scars, webbed mermaid ears, elf ears, ram horns, goat horns, and tails. Here are all of the hairstyles. I tried to include a good mix of short and long options. I'm particularly happy with how the long curly hair and the braided hair turned out, as well as the monk-style strip of hair around the head. In the final game, these will be available in a variety of natural and fantasy colors. Here are the hats, including the classic medieval hennin and jester hat. I've also included a halo, as a lot of illuminated artwork from this time was typically done by monks depicting saints with golden halos. Here are a selection of the shirt options. I'm particularly happy with the long flowing sleeves and the armor corsets. For the pants, I kept these to the same general color palette as the shirts to make mixing and matching the pieces easy. There are a variety of shoe and sock options, including the Timothée Chalamet shoe, lots of jewelry and glasses, and different wings. Some of the accessories can add to the story of the character, and I also included some pets, so you can rest a dragon on your character's shoulders or hands. I then did a mock-up of how the game will look. Originally, I had planned to do a scroll-inspired layout, but landed on more of a book style instead. So what you would do is begin by pressing start, and then you can customize the character's body, including their skin and face. And then you would click through the pages, through the hair, hats, and so on, and as you click the items on the right, they will appear on the character. When you've gone through all of the slides, you'll be able to download a PNG of the final character. Using all of these assets, you can design a medieval character of your own, make fan art of your favorite characters or your D&D character. You can make musicians for the cover of your new Bardcore remix, or make cards and letters for your friends. The goal is to have this coded and available somewhere for you to play it, but I'll save the coding for a future video. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know how you would use a game like this and what sort of character you would want to make. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.